It's exciting.
All right. Well, hey, maybe we can hook you up. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get on this real quick because hello, everybody. We are live. Oh my gosh, this makes me so excited. Oh, look, we have hearts already. All right, you guys. So as you come in, say hey, give us lots of heart. Tell me where you, lots of heart.
Lots of hearts.
Lots of hearts. Tell me where you're coming from. And if you guys will be so kind as to share this, like, share, comment, interact. I want to see. Also, for anybody, as you come in, please say hey. Last time I had a little bit of issues with the comments. So I want to make sure that everything's good. And I'm going to tag you real quick, okay? Because just one notice about StreamYard.
Yes.
It does not allow me to tag people. So I did Zoom before I came onto this platform, and now I'm doing StreamYard because StreamYard allows you to multi-stream.
Can I do a watch party from my phone?
Yes, and I'm gonna. There we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Sorry. Dan K. Hamill. There you go. All right, and then I'm gonna invite another person. There we go. All right. All right, you guys. So, and I'm going to keep this up actually so I can see what comments come. Oh, cool. I see my comments. I'm like, oh, cool. I see my comments. All right. Hey, Kelly. So, you guys, as you all know, I had another guest scheduled for tonight, but there was some scheduling conflicts. Hey, Kelly. So she was unable to make it. So, hopefully at some point we will get her on. Oh, hello, Kay. Do you see comments too?
Everyone can see and hear you. It said no. I just typed a hello everyone. I don't know whether I'll be able to see your comment.
I'm looking. I'm looking. Okay.
All right. I'm playing along with you.
And hey, Jamie, I tagged you because Jamie Ramsey, if you go in the comments, Kay, when we get off here, Jamie Ramsey does Young Living as well. Jamie, I tagged you because Kay does Young Living and she is in Australia. So I thought maybe that would be a fantastic connect for you guys to come together. So before we dive into this, let me give you a little background. Again, I was supposed to have a different guest, but you know what? This is the way I view it with this show. Everybody that's on this show is meant to be on this show. So I'm always excited for everybody that comes on. And as you guys come in, say, hey, let me know you're here, where you're coming from. I want to make sure that my chat is working really well. So if everybody can say, hey, tell me how excited you are for episode 41. You guys, we're 9 episodes away from episode 50. We're going to, y'all, episode 50 is going to be thebomb.com. But just a little background on Kay here. I just met Kay an hour and a half ago.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's always like we were talking about before. I love how the universe works. It gives you exactly what you need when you need it. I had a feeling potentially that my guest may not be able to make it. And Kay's like, hey, I can fill in. And I'm like, there you go. All right. Look at that. See?
7 minutes ago.
7 minutes ago, we did it. But anywho, so without further ado, I'm going to dive into my intro, and then we're going to get going on this episode because I'm really excited. I did not get to catch everybody, so I got like a little bit of yours, so I didn't get to catch everybody. I was at work when everybody was doing a lot of their stuff, so I'm excited to get to hear some of what you probably talked about earlier. Oh, you guys, watch out. I forgot about this.
Okay.
This is a cool thing, you guys. So with anybody who ever does that,
hey, hi, Christy.
Yes, I get to put comments up here. Hello, ladies. Hello, Angela. Oh my gosh, and hello, Christy. I also met Christy not too long ago from the Emerge Online Superstars Summit, you guys, and she is in North Carolina. Before we dive into this, the power of collaboration is real, y'all. The power of collaboration is real. So just remember that. This is incredibly exciting. So without further ado, I'm going to do my intro. If I talk anymore, we'll get off track. So hello and welcome to the TUF Woman Table, episode 41, you guys, episode 41. So this is the table where I invite some super badass tough women like Kay here to take a seat and join in on the conversation and share their amazing story. And I'm so excited for her to come share hers as well. So at TUF Woman, I believe that all women have the power within themselves to live an authentic life, free from fear, confident in who they are, and empowered to go after that life and create a life that truly just sets their soul on fire, right? So what I share this belief by championing tough women who have walked through the fire, felt the fear, faced adversity, and kept pushing through it all. Women who now live the life they want as the woman they were created to be. Women who own their stories so that other women can own theirs as well. Because as we all know, when you give yourself permission to own and share your story, you give someone else the same permission as well. So, you guys, without further ado, I am so excited to bring my guest on. Like, I'm excited because I get this first time I get to hear this. So please tell everybody who you are and where you are coming from.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, thanks for this opportunity. I'm just blown away and so excited and pleased that I'm at least out of the shower and dressed, because I was going to hop onto another Zoom call that I thought was happening, but that wasn't happening. So that didn't happen. So it's all synchronicity and worked out. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, Ashley. I listened to you talk earlier in the other group that we're on, in Rashawn's Emerge, what's it called? Emerge
Online Superstars.
Yes. So if anyone's watching this and they haven't tuned into that, certainly tune in. I have made the most amazing connections in the last 24 hours. It's like something's just dropped in, and I'm so excited. And I loved your intro, Ashley. Every word that you spoke, it sounds just perfect for where I come in and with the work that I do. So my name's Kay Hamilton, and I call myself the Courage Activator. And I've got a journey like many of us do have. We all have very different journeys and different times and different seasons. Years ago, I guess my spiritual turning point was when I had 3 young children. I was still breastfeeding my youngest at 1.5, and my husband decided to leave for greener pastures. And I, of course, was totally devastated. However, once I worked through the shock and the trauma and the overwhelm of, oh my gosh, here I am having to support my 3 young children all by myself, which was not my planned version of life. I'm a primary school teacher, and I know the devastation of broken families and where that can potentially lead to. So it was definitely not in my plan when I got married, and definitely not in my plan to have a devastating life for 3 young children. After that, so that was a turning point for me. It was a turning point for me to kind of go, I was relying too much on another human being, I guess, for my survival and my support. And I guess that was my awakening or reawakening to tap into my spirituality. Hi, Rashawn, nice to see you here. And so then I started learning, I started going to self-development courses. I brought skills into my daily life. I learned how to do Reiki. A few more years later on, I learned how to do colour energy work, and learned how to interpret colours and chakra work and things like that. And then I guess I got consumed in parenting and surviving with my young children. Lucky for me, I was very fortunate because I'm a primary school teacher as well. So I did relief teaching because I made a decision, and I was in a position that I wasn't forced to go out to work and to be locked into something like that, which is something that I don't enjoy doing anyway. So I did relief teaching to support my children. Then I had 8 years of trauma when I got involved in another scenario, and I had another child. And I won't go into the depths of that because I've moved way beyond all my traumas. They're still there, but you learn to live with them. And my message to women is that even though we have traumas or setbacks or grief, whatever it is in your life, we just have to learn to overcome them. We need to learn how to move beyond them and not have them stopping us and holding us back. So I also, in 2010, I I was getting what I call divine nudges. I wanted to wear something on my body that made me feel feminine and uplifted. And I came across a kit of oils with Young Living, similar to this one here. It had 10 oils, and I've got one sitting here. It had 10 oils in it, and little did I know how life-changing they were going to be. I purchased these oils from a company that was selling organic and non-hybrid seeds, and it really inspired me to decide to purchase this kit of oils. And I hadn't even smelt them, so my story is very different to most who, most people want to touch, smell, research, or experience it, whereas I went with my gut intuition. And I purchased this kit of oils, and when I opened them and smelt them, I went, oh my gosh, this is something that I have never experienced before. So that actually was another turning point for me. It became very, very life-changing. So I started sharing the oils. I had no idea that I was going to head into a journey for the next 9 years of some amazing things happening, including sharing my oils with others and encouraging people to introduce them into their homes, for their families, for their children, for all sorts of reasons. We have a saying, there's an oil for that. And Jamie, I see you obviously know about Young Living. There's a lot of us who are walking this planet now who do know about Young Living, and we can all tell you how life-changing they are. So what happened for me then was I shared the oils, and I realised that I wanted more oils, but the price was not something that I had the ready cash for. So I got a little bit more excited about sharing them with other people. And the beautiful thing about Young Living is that you can get the benefit yourself, you can give the benefit to your own family and your friends, and then when you share the joys and the love and your appreciation, you can bless other people with the same experience. And so I encourage other people to share their oils with other people so that you can actually gain some financial support to help you keep going with your oils. So I went on this beautiful journey, sharing oils, and my business grew. And I've now been fortunate enough to have won 8 trips around the world, and I have got to experience Young Living farms in France, in Croatia, in Hawaii, and in Utah. So one turning point for me during that time was I came second in Australia to win a trip to the Grand Convention. It was in Texas, and they asked if I would take the Australian flag out onto the stage and wave that in front of the whole audience. Well, that was mind-blowing for me, and I think it set me on a path of, we have to think beyond our small thinking. Life can change if you continue to just keep doing what you are being urged to do. I talk about divine nudges, or it's your intuition. It's those messages that, get you, or when you feel excited. Because for me, I just love the smell of the oils. I love how they work, and it just fitted very much in with my Reiki and with my healing energy. So fast forward to 2019, people say to me, Kay, you're more than the oils and you've got more gifts to share. And I guess my business plateaued a bit. And when you come to a plateau or something like that, that's the time that you have to do some soul searching and go, well, where's my next branch on the tree, or where can I take this next? So in the last couple of months, I have been hosting a live TV show, and I call it Activate Your Courage, because my message is like yours. I want women to discover that they can move beyond their circumstances that may be limiting, and you can take your gifts out into the world, and it's not going to fall in your lap necessarily, but you just have to keep on keeping on. And with my Young Living, I kept on keeping on. I've been living, breathing, and immersing myself in our beautiful oils and our oil community, and it's helped me to up level. It's helped my inner transformation, and I've come back to working with my intuition and my sense of tuning into people's colours. And I'm going to hold up, I'll show you, just happen to have a couple of clients work here, and with permission to share this work, I've created an Activate Your Courage toolkit. And when people do a one-on-one session with me, I work with intention. So I ask the client, what's your intention for the session? What would you like to transform? And I start drawing. I pick up coloured pencils and I tune into chakras and their energy, and I start drawing. And I work with meditation. I bring the essential oils in to help with release or magnifying something or whatever it is. And that gives people an introduction into a deeper way of looking at what's going on within themselves. So that's one person's drawing, and here's another one. So everybody has something different. And during that time, during the meditation, I hold space for people so that they can tune in and find the answers themselves, really, because sometimes we're too close to our own answers, and sometimes it takes somebody else, to give them the inspiration to dig a little bit deeper. So I worked with a lady the other day, and she was saying, oh, look, your session, Activate Your Courage. At first, I didn't really think I needed one of those because I've got a lot of courage. But I talked to her about what her next, thing she wanted to do or bring out into the world was. And when she tuned into that, she realised she knew what she wanted to do, but deep down, there was something that was potentially holding her back from just stepping forward with what she wanted to do. So she unearthed that, and we shifted that through our meditation and through my work with the oils, and she left her session a very happy customer. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh, I love it. And I before we move, I wanna talk to you because I feel like this actually, what you talked about in the very beginning, resonates with me because I went through, my ex-husband was an addict, and needless to say, pills were his
Yes.
choice. And so when the marriage ended, there was going through that, but then recently we've had to go through a trauma again where he's decided to up and leave my son in the process. And you go through a lot. So what my question to you is, when you were going through this and not diving into the trauma, but more so the after part, is what was it? Because I feel like when we go through these traumas, they're really these pivotal shifts in our life. So what was it that you were able to work with that carried you through going through all that? Because now you had those 3 children at the time and your husband is now left. So I know for me, like with my son, it was reminding myself, choosing to ground myself in the fact that me and my kids, because my daughter's father has his own issues as well, that we were not victims of circumstance, and we got to choose who we, how we viewed it, how I viewed it. So when you were going through this, because I feel like there are a lot of women, when we talk about having courage, they're going through these situations where they're like, oh my God, I feel like my entire life is ending. How do I pick up from here?
I guess in reality, my children were my biggest motivation. I also had a session with somebody who was a kinesiologist, and that was a turning point for me. So I think reaching out to get some support from other people. I had a little bit of counselling, marriage counselling before my partner because I was trying to encourage him to stay, and you know, I wanted the family unit to stay very badly, even though in hindsight he didn't deserve that chance, because there were things that had been going on. My boundaries were not very good in the first place, so that's one thing. I encourage women to look at your boundaries. If you know there is abuse on any level going on, and if you are living with it, and if you are accepting it and tolerating it, get some help, because I didn't reach out early enough. And by the time I reached out, it was too late. And even so, even if I'd reached out earlier, it may not have saved the marriage, but it might have given me a bit more strength and tools to cope with what I was coping with. So the first thing is, don't think you have to do this alone. Every day we get online, millions of women around the world are experiencing difficulties in their marriage, and breakups are part of everyday life these days, sadly. And I believe that it is very traumatic. And I also believe that we need a bit of a shake-up around relationships and how to communicate and keep things together. So number one for me is reach out. Number two is, I had 3 children, and I decided that even though we'd gone through a lot of trauma, that I didn't want that to become our norm. And you just rely on your own resilience. I remember a stage where I was feeling, you know, totally crap, let's be honest, and devastated. And, you know, how am I going to do this? But there was this tiny light, I call it. It was just this little tiny light of inspiration, a divine nudge, or a deep message that said, you know, you can do this. And I just relied on that little light and expanded that light in the best way I could, through friends, through, you know, going and getting someone to help, make new choices, find new friends, do new things. When something leaves our life and has left us in trauma, we have to pick up the pieces. And I always say to people, if people want to give up smoking, or they want to give up some sort of habit, well, one, you've got to decide that's what you want to do. Two, you also have to replace that with something else of more or greater value, or something more meaningful. So introduce new things. So I started to go to new events. I put myself in new places, did new things, started doing things that I'd wanted to do maybe before my husband had left. So there's freedom in single parenting, and you just have to find those freedom spaces and expand them, and until they become a part of your norm. I also think that you have to stop your thinking that brings you down. You have to look at every thought you have, and you have to turn that around into something beneficial. So affirmations all over the place, sticky notes. Just do some things to treat yourself in any way you possibly can.
Oh, I mean, hey, Denise. Hi. Denise is going to be coming on the show as well. I love this, you guys. But I when you said that, I really wanted to touch on that in a moment, because that is such a unfortunate theme that I see recently, is, you know, and it's something I've seen before, is we go through this trauma, and oftentimes we really get stuck in the, oh my God, I've lost something. And even when I was going through my divorce, and seemingly on the outside, it looks like, yes, I've lost everything, because now I'm living with my mom with 2 kids. I'm a single mom. And even now, it's like, now I'm really a single mom. I'm parenting by myself. Granted, I have a tremendous amount of support in other family members, but there's a difference between family members and then the other parent of your children. So, and so I think it's very important, because it is easy to get stuck on that. for a couple days, I was like, I was mad, I was angry, I was like, how dare he? And then I was like, wait a second. When you go, how dare this person, you now become the victim of something. And I look at it, and someone, thankfully, Deborah, she was another woman, she reframed it for me as well. She said, just remember, your ex-husband probably gave you a gift. So I love that you talk about finding a way to reframe your thoughts into something that's more productive for where you're going, because so often we get caught up in the what have we lost instead of looking at the, well, what am I gaining? Like you talked about, I gained all these new things that I wouldn't have done when I was married. I gained the courage to step out and do things that I loved and not date. So I think it's incredibly important that you talked about that and how that plays into activating your courage, because that's really what you're doing right there, is activating that
Yeah.
courage.
So now I'm at a point where I'm saying, okay, I can step out into the world and offer my gifts and support to other people. If I'd stayed in my marriage, I might have just stayed in a comfortable situation. I might not have been financially struggling so much. And I might have just, done the married thing and done what I'd always done for so many years. Whereas, you've got to turn it around and look at that potential and possibility. I mean, just even today, something happened to you, your plans for this session changed on the spur of the moment. I just happened to be there and said, and we were talking about me scheduling a time on the show, and here we were scheduling behind the scenes, and I'm going, oh, this is so exciting. And the next minute you're sending me messages about what's happening, and I'm going, well, let's do it today. So, you've got to be open to what is possible and not what's not possible, because if your partner walks out on you, there's actually nothing really you can do about it. So and I didn't want to be, I remember what I did. For 3 months, I think I was in my woes. I mean, I was in my woes for a lot longer than that, but for 3 months, that's all I could talk and think about. And then one day I went and had a session with somebody, and I walked out of that session and I smiled for the first time in 3 months. And that was a life-changing experience for me. And I just then allowed that inner joy to expand and started to take control of my thoughts, my actions, and my emotions, really, because we really have, I used to say to my children, well, when they'd say, oh, you make me cross or whatever, I used to say to them, you have a choice about how you feel about anything. And, they laugh at me now. Oh, Mum, I remember you telling us that when we were little, because when, it was sort of not what they wanted to hear at the time. But what you tell your children has an impact. And I think we have a responsibility to hold space for our children and to be an example for our children. So in each and every moment, we all have choices, and we're our children's teachers. So I recommend that you start, if you haven't got a partner there at night to talk to, well, jump on a webinar, read a book, listen to a podcast. I mean, we didn't have all those things when I went through my divorce and my terrible times. So I think it's and that's what the World Wide Web is all about. It's giving us the opportunity to support each other and to create tribes or families. And I just love the fact that we have this option for a global interaction.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I have to say this is awesome, because you guys, Kay is in Australia. Like, can you even? I mean, God, even 5-6 years ago, if you'd asked me, like, do you think you would have been sitting here doing this? And I'm like, oh,
That's
and,
right.
and I love. Okay, there's 2 things I love right now that you're talking about, which is we all have a choice. That was something that's been reframed and mirrored back to me continuously, is that we all have the choice. So it's like when you get stuck in the, oh, well, how dare they? And you have the choice to go, well, you know what? Yes, they did that, but I'm not the victim in the matter. And then you talk about holding space for your kids, which is not something that is talked about a lot. But I have to ask before we move forward with, because I do want to talk about what it is you're doing with activating your courage. How imperative was it holding space for your children in regards to your relationship with them now and moving forward? Because for me, I'm all about conscious parenting and giving my children space to develop their own personalities and ideologies and thought processes outside of what I believe and what my thought processes are. So how important was that, not only for them, but for you as well? Because I know that by choosing to be a conscious parent and be conscious of my own, the way I am around them, it has allowed me to be conscious of the way I am and the way I show up in the world.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. And I'm a school teacher as well, so I know, I'm amongst children. I see the trauma that the children come to school with. And I was very concerned that I didn't want them to have this feeling of their father deserting them. But at the end of the day, there was nothing I could do about that. But I didn't feed them, oh, poor you. I didn't feed them, oh, daddy's this or that. I really didn't go down that track because I didn't want to magnify their trauma. I don't know. And I think initially I was dealing with it myself in my own head, but I didn't want them to feel guilty. So I think it was important to tell them, how much they're loved, and it was more about his decision, because maybe he wasn't coping, and he really didn't. He left the marriage, but he lost everything, and none of it. His life's never really improved anyway. He's still caught up in his drinking, and the children, I never stopped them. Well, no, I did stop them seeing him a couple. Not that he wanted to see them even a couple of times, but he would turn up. He would have a few drinks and want to hop in the car with them. So I would have to say, no, you can't go. He's been drinking. You can't go. And they weren't too happy initially about me saying no, but it was my responsibility to protect them from that. But yes, I think it's so important that parents don't add their garbage or their negativity onto the situation, and have a little bit of detachment about that. I always felt that, I gave birth to my children. I was a down to earth mum. I had 4 home births, and it was very important to me that they all came into the world in a natural, uncomplicated state without any intervention whatsoever. So I was, a family was a sacred, a sacred hub for me. So to have a divorce was extremely traumatic. But I didn't want the children to have the overwhelming feeling of that. So it wasn't until they were in their teenage years that I kind of worked out that was the next point for me to say, talk to them about it, because I felt that they needed a little bit more explanation about my decisions or things that happened. So I think they needed a bit more of a reality hit about what was happening for him. I didn't want to paint him as this amazing parent, but I didn't want to downgrade him either. But once they got old enough, they needed to hear a little bit of reality about it. So that was all a gentle process for me. Look, if I had my time again, I would do things differently. I would be, there's so much these days for parents to read, to access, and I would encourage any parent going through that to upskill and to reach out. I even just ordered a book the other day because I've got grandchildren now, and my 2 eldest grandchildren, they don't have access to their father either because of their circumstances. And so I've got a daughter who was a single mum for a while, and she's married now with a new partner, and that's another dynamic. So I just bought a book the other day about how to talk to your teenagers so they'll listen. So I just think there's so much available now that it's all at our fingertips, but we've got to have that willingness to learn and that willingness to upskill and, get our tools. And that's why I'll come back to my Activate Your Courage. That's why I call it a toolkit, or even my essential oils. It's a wellness kit. It's a kit that I have. The kids come and say, oh, I can't sleep tonight. And so you do some rituals, put some beautiful essential oils on their feet before they go to bed. Give them some oils for their courage at school, because they're all going through all that emotional trauma. And drawing. I used to spend a lot of time with my children sitting down and drawing, just using colour, just intuitive drawing. And in fact, this piece of artwork behind me is, there's a bit of a story behind it, because one daughter came and did some artwork in her teenage years, and she only did the first layer. And I always thought, gee, I don't really like that very much. I didn't want to put it up. And then another daughter came and she did her bit on it, and it still wasn't good enough for me. So I did another layer over the top. And I love having this behind me, because it represents that spiral of, and as I'm thinking about this now, that this could represent the light that was in me years ago for potential, for magnifying your full potential and creating the change and creating the dynamic you want for yourself and your family. So now in my Activate Your Courage toolkit, I work with meditation. So I walk people through a meditation, and in that meditation, that's where they come to find their answers. So people can record that. You can have that as an ongoing thing. You have a piece of artwork that I call it channeled art, and I take a photo of that, and I immediately after the session I send that to people, and a lot of people put that on their phones. So that's a way to anchor in that next progression of whatever it is that you're transforming at that stage. And I send you off with affirmations. I give you essential oil recommendations, because I think we need tools. It's like if you want your car to go, you've got to put oil in it, you've got to put petrol in it, you've got to wash the windscreen, or if we want to keep our body going, we've got to actually do things to nurture ourselves. And that's what I see in the sense of Activate Your Courage toolkit. So,
moving into this and coming up from this is another thing that I love all the stuff you're talking about. It's like so resonant here. But
yes.
You talk about moving from a point where your business plateaued and you're coming into a shift, which I feel happens to a lot of us, and we fight the plateau and we fight the shift because we are so tied into what we think we should be doing or what we think it should look like. So when you came into that plateau and you were going into the shift, what did that process look like? Because again, I think a lot of us come to that point in our life and we go, okay, well, what now?
Yes. So, well, I guess you've got to sit with the emotions and know that it's just something that's passing or something that you're going through at that stage. And I guess I kind of do a thing where I say, dear God, tell me where you want me to go. Show me the way. Or I'll start affirming I'm in the right place at the right time for the right reasons. Send me the people that I need to connect with. Doing all that inner work, that the journaling or the meditation or whatever it is, all that, a new phrase now is I don't know how new it is, but attraction marketing or creating. It's about creating an energetic state for receiving and knowing that you deserve to receive good things and allowing that to happen, and riding the times of change. And change is constant. We can't expect what we did. I mean, if you were doing, Ashley, what you did 5 years ago, you wouldn't be doing this with me now. So even if we're running a business and we're successful and we're doing what we're doing, we need to be innovating all the time. We need to be changing and evolving and growing and expanding with everything we're doing. I think with me, with Young Living, it wasn't something I went in to do as a business. It happened along the way. And I look back now and saying that was a nudge, a divine nudge. That was something that happened. I could be school teaching. I could be doing my, set days with my set holidays, and I could be giving my value and my worth to children in the classroom. And I love the children in the classroom. The dare I say the boundaries of the education department don't give me enough scope. I'm intuitive. I like change. I like meeting people, and I like travel. So Young Living has given me the ability. I mean, I've won 8 trips around the world. If that's not a divine nudge or something telling me that I'm on the right path, well, I'd be crazy. Yes. and this all happened in my late 50s. So, you don't think, it's too late for me to start. Wherever you're at is your starting point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they said, what was it? They did a comparison of people when they started, and it was like, God, I think they said Oprah was like in her 30s or something before she got really big, and like J.K. Rowling was,
Yes.
God, and her, So it's never too late to really start with what doing what it is you feel called to do. So coming on that and taking those divine nudges, how do you feel that's helped your life to become now? Because we go through all this and we come into these points and you're like, yeah, I feel great now. So how do you feel like learning to trust your intuition and follow that has helped, propelled you forward with this and taking that pivot, especially with Activate Your Courage? And how do you feel this has really propelled your life forward?
Well, I've come to a point where I realise that I can trust my divine nudges. And I guess it's my time for getting out in the world and supporting other women. It's, that message needs to be heard wide and deep. And would it be any point if I was doing what I'm doing for myself and keeping it just to myself and my family? Would there be any point in that? To me, there would be great points in that. But then why would I want to just hold it with my family? I think if each and every one of us become, the word instrument is coming for some reason, if we all become an instrument for positive change, I think that's what's happening. And I think we're living in exciting times. When my children were teenagers, I had a cloud of, oh my God, the world's changing, and I had a cloud of there wasn't going to be any resources. We could get into the fear of climate change, World War III. Our minds could carry us away with all that negativity. But I don't want to be in that vortex because that's a spiral downward. So you're only just going to keep spiraling downward, whereas I would rather be in a spiral that goes up and out, which is actually also like a representation of what my backdrop is, because it's that idea that each and every one of us can, I don't know whether you do Reiki, but in Reiki, when you've got one person giving someone Reiki on the table, you're getting a beautiful amount of energy. But when you've got more and more people around that table, that energy amplifies. And that's what happens when we start creating communities. So I've just only in the last couple of months put myself out there on my Activate Your Courage, on my live TV shows, where I walk you through. I give you a bit of a sample about how I work. I walk through a meditation. Now, sometimes I have 1 or 2 people on that, but I'm going to keep doing it. Still, one by one by one by one, they'll come. I love all these things that are just rolling off my tongue at the moment. But that's the way it happens. But before I did that, I just did lives in my group where I felt safe. So my message to people is start where you feel safe and then move beyond the safety once you've found some comfort in your safety. And what's the worst thing that can happen anyway? If we step beyond where we think we're at. And if we're not, I mean, you know, a Facebook Live costs zero, really, because most of us are already paying our internet bills. And a Facebook Live and sharing our stories has huge potential. So, as we've seen from the other forum we've been on in the last few days. So, my next step is I'm opening up. I'm going to early in the year. I'm going to have a paid Activate Your Courage group. It's going to be $47, and it'll be a one-off payment. And I'm doing that at base level because I want it to be affordable for anybody who wants to come on board. Because I think, yes, it's great attracting high-end customers, and that's fine. And I see room and space for that, but I also want to be reachable to people who think they can't afford things. So I'm moving into another level of where I'm going to take my Activate Your Courage sessions.
Oh, and Rashawn.
Oh, hi, Rashawn. Lovely to see you.
Yes, and you guys, that is where I actually met Kay. We're doing, again, back to that summit. We're doing that summit. And that, again, that's a beautiful example of stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things, but also connecting with other people. Because I think I agree with you. I think we're in that pivot, that shift into the world where we have so many people that are coming up and being like, listen, we could do so much better in this world. And they have realized that way. I believe me and you have realized that starts with self. You know, everybody goes, oh, I wish there was somebody that would do something about that. And I said this a long time ago on a talk. Well, have you ever wondered that maybe when you get that nudge that, oh, I wish there was somebody that should do something about it, perhaps you are the somebody that should do something about it, because guess what? You've recognized that there's a need for something to be done. And I also like that you talk about, even though there's one or two people that come on, which has happened with this show. Sometimes it's a small audience, but it comes back to that showing up for yourself and showing up for that one person.
Yes.
What I talked about with Rashawn. It's like, what happens if you don't show up one day and you don't help that one person that's life could have been changed had you shown up? What would happen then?
Well, that's right. And, you know, in that, thanks, Rashawn. In that moment of supporting other people, that supports you to have confirmation that you're on a path and that you've got value. So it's always a two-way street, that reciprocal connection with each other. And even me watching your live earlier on with Rashawn, it was beautiful. You struck a chord with me because you're talking about the world of corporates, which is, you know, that's not sort of where I haven't had much experience with that, but I connected with a lady the other day, and she's in Malta, and she does relationship counselling, and she's been asked, she comes from corporate, and she's been asked to go back into the world of corporate to share her relationship work in the world of corporates. And she was kind of going, oh, I don't know that I want to go back into that world. And I did a session, just a little, because I also give away free little mini readings. So I actually talked her through that, and you know, helped give her some guidance on that, and helped her realize that she could actually do, like, the corporate world needs all of this sort of type of thing. So what you were talking about this morning, that struck a chord with me, and I thought that's why I was inspired to friend request you and to get to know you too, because I thought, here's these little threads coming in, and who knows where that's going to go and what ways we can support each other. So,
and in case anybody's wondering what she's talking about, I talked about coming out of corporate restauranting and other types of corporate infrastructure. they're now beginning to see, and this is, I've seen this in a lot of times what happens in the corporate structure is the way that we are being led is very streamlined, very unempathetic. There's a lack of compassion. There's a need to maximize profits and minimize the amount of labor that you're utilizing to do that. So in helping women tap into their leadership, they're actually showing that the qualities that women have that have been told to us that are our weaknesses are really our strengths. So women being empathetic, compassionate, and being about the community and about the team is actually a more effective way of leading, especially within the corporate world. But if you go into the corporate world and you start throwing around the words compassion and showing up in your highest self, they're looking at you like, oh my God, get this person out of my freaking boardroom, wherever. But the fact of the matter is that, again, it goes back to it being proven and just seeing it work myself, that these are the traits that are actually shown to be more effective within leadership. So ladies out there, if you haven't gotten it yet, okay, we are actually being proven to be more effective leaders than men. Not knocking the men, just saying we are naturally attuned to have more effective leadership skills because we are more naturally prone to be compassionate, more naturally prone to be empathetic, more naturally prone to be for the whole versus for self. So ladies, activate your courage, unleash your greatness.
Yeah, embody it. Would you like me to intuitively pull an oil out for you? Would you like to play?
Yes.
Questions? Because I just thought, let's play, and then you can have a little bit of a sample of what I do. So I also have 2 pages. I have a group called Kay's Essential Oil Wisdom, and I pull oils out there. But on a Tuesday night, I have my Activate Your Courage sessions as well. So I'm just going to see. Let me just tune in for a little bit.
Denise says, I love this.
Denise. Oh, hi, Denise. Lovely. Let me know. I could pull an oil out for you and give you a little bit of something interesting.
Okay. I'm wondering, I'm getting back to chugging a gallon of water every day.
Excellent. So I've pulled out some harmony for you, Ashley. She goes, struck a chord. Is that right?
No, I need it because I've been like, I need harmony in my life right now. I'm telling you.
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm telling you. Anyway, so harmony is a beautiful oil for helping to support your chakras, to get yourself balanced, and to get your energy into a harmonic state of being. So you, well, no wonder I pulled that out for you. So it's a beautiful blend. I could tell you what. Do you want to know what oils are in it?
I do, but I feel like frankincense is probably in there.
Oh, probably is.
I love frankincense.
Stunning blend. It's got a lot of oils in it.
I love sandalwood too.
You obviously know a little bit about oils then. Yes. Sorry?
I said yes. I know a little bit. I love oils.
Okay. So sacred sandalwood, lavender, lang lang, frankincense, orange, angelica, geranium, hyssop, Spanish sage, black spruce, coriander, bergamot, lemon, jasmine, Roman chamomile, palmarosa, and rose.
Wow.
So, it supports your physical and emotional harmonic balance for all the energy centers of your body, and it's supportive for uplifting you and elevating you and to help you reduce the amount of stress you're experiencing.
Yeah, yeah, I'll say I probably need do they do that intravenously? Can we put that?
Well, the thing is, the beauty about our oils is you don't need much. You only need a drop, and then you just move it around your aura or place a little bit on the heart, or you can put it in your diffuser. And, when I've got my oils diffusing in the office, it's like, oh, yes, I want to be in here because they invite you into your office space. And, you know, we're in business. We're working with lots of energies. We're working with lots of people. So we've got to make sure that we are radiating at a really high vibration. And that's why I believe essential oils are a really good thing to incorporate and to have in your toolkit just to keep you running.
I agree. My grandmother works for the other oil company, doTERRA, but I used to put, and it had similar oils to that, but I would put, it was like Lang Lang, lavender, frankincense, sandalwood, and something else. And I tell y'all, in a diffuser, those are like liquid Xanax, man. I'd lay in bed and be like, oh, this is great. Oh my, just the combination of those specific oils. I'm like, I feel fantastic right now. I'm like, oh my God. But no, that's awesome. I will have to get with you because I love, and especially going into 2020, you guys, I think this is really important. I feel this, and I don't know if anybody else feels this on a really energetic level, but I feel called to go back to a more natural state of being. So finding things that are more naturally supportive of my body, getting rid of unnatural caffeine and unnatural energy, you know, because I so often go through my day and I'm like, God, my body's exhausted and I feel exhausted. And instead of taking time to rest and recenter, it's like, oh, I'll just drink some more caffeine, or I'll just drink more coffee and I'll just keep going. And then, you know, and then next thing you know, you're crashing and you're like, I don't understand why I feel like a big old pile of poop. And it's like, because you're not doing
So you could replace your caffeine with a drop of lemon, or you could replace your caffeine with a drop of peppermint in your water.
I knew about the lemon, but not the peppermint. But hey, I learned things.
Peppermint's very uplifting and energizing. So, and I encourage you to reach out and explore Young Living oils.
All right. So since we're getting to the end of this, we have two last parts of it. So the first one is, if you were to go back, or if you were to come to another woman and she said, hey, listen, you have this story, you've gone through all this stuff. What are 3 tangible pieces of advice you could give me to go to move through life with?
The first one is just know that we have the potential to change. Where you are now is not where you're going to be tomorrow or the next day. So change is constant. You have the ability to reach out and find a tool or find something to support you. And the third one is let yourself fly. That brings me to, I read a book called Pulling Your Own Strings by Wayne Dyer.
Oh.
And he said there's 3 things. You can stay in, well, I'll put it in my language, you can stay in the shit, or I call it the compost heap, because you can stay in the compost heap, or you can, you can, what's the word? You can either just stay where you are, you can survive, or you can fly above it. Mm. So the choice is up to you.
All right, last piece. If people want to connect with you, what is it that you offer? Tell everybody where they can find you, and what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Okay, so you are welcome to private message me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Kay's Oils. I also have a oil group called Kay's Essential Oil Wisdom. I have an Activate Your Courage Facebook page that I will be moving my online show over to. I think I'll move it over there next year. That's my feeling at the moment. Once again, we change things, things don't stay the same. Or I'm kay@kaysoils.com, and that's K with no E.
Okay. And if you want to, after this, because I know Rashawn had us do the same thing, but go ahead and feel free to put your links in this show afterwards. I always like people who come on there to do it. And then that way, what I'll do is you guys, if you don't know, I'm going to start putting the link in here, but this show now streams via Facebook and YouTube. So if anybody would be so lovely as to follow me over on YouTube, you can find the link on my page. But what I'll do is take those links and I'll post them over to YouTube too. So people who find the show on YouTube will see the links in the descriptor. So, and they'll know to go see it once they've watched the show. So, thank you so much for being so open doing this. And you guys, I'll say something from this experience, because as you guys know, especially for those who have been with the show since the beginning, and there's a couple of you, stay open to the possibilities, because it would be so easy for me to get discouraged and think, oh my God, again, just like, look, I got to find it. Like, things happen, life happens. And we have, again, like you said, we have the ability to choose how we're going to react to the situation, because at the end of the day, I can't control how this, not having that, like, it's not me getting upset or anything is not going to make the guest reappear. So, but when we stay open to it, I believe that what is meant to happen is what happens. So, thank you so much for being willing to come on here. And I'm thankful that the universe works to support us at all times, because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I fully believe that every person we meet is there for a reason. So, and look, now we're having this great conversation. And Rashawn said, this was great.
Oh, Rashawn. Yay.
And I just want to say, this is great. I mean, this conversation and this platform, like, is officially my favorite. So if anybody ever decides they want to learn how to multi-stream and create a show like this, please feel free to reach out. So,
wonderful.
Without further ado, thank you guys so much for coming on. For everybody who came on, we had a really good showing out tonight. So I am really happy with this, you guys. Thank you so much. If you catch us on the replay, put hashtag replay. That way I know you were here and I can connect with you. And as always, you guys, we will be back next Tuesday. And no, hold on. You guys, we will not be back next week. It is holiday weekend, right?
Yes. Will it be Christmas for you?
So there we are. All right, you guys. So yes, we will be back on Thursday. I'm thinking it's Thursday. I'm real tired, everybody. I've been up since about 4 o'clock this morning. So we will see you guys Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not host shows through the holidays. I know that when we had talked originally, Kay was actually scheduled to come on the 31st. I may or may not do a New Year's Eve show, dependent upon whether or not I'm going to be with my family at that time or not. So either way, I will see you guys Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for coming. And I look forward to our next guest. I'm so excited as always. And I look forward. Thank you guys for being on the table. Everybody have a good night. Like, share, comment, keep coming back so we can just keep spreading the stories and bringing this out to more people and having awesome people like Kay on. And thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, have an awesome night. Bye.
Bye, everyone.